judgment that he posted on the internet. Now, and so it's out there. I mean, these kind of things are out there, and I have been told confidentially that there are high-ranking people who listen to my broadcast. I know that this was a couple years ago. I can't say for certain they listen to everything that I say, but what the point is that and I just don't mean me individually, but what I mean is that I know for a fact there are people who do listen to my broadcast, but they listen to the broadcasts of independent voices.
Now they
want to see what people are saying. They want to see what Texe Marrs is saying because they know that you have a broad outreach. They know that you impact on a lot of people. So they do pay close attention to it, and they are glad for the support that they do get. They're not going to come out and issue press releases saying, hey, Mike Piper and Texe Marrs are doing a great job, keep it up, because they can't afford to do that. Mm-hmm. But they can do what they can do behind the scenes and know that we're acting as cheerleaders for them from afar and saying, hey, there are good people in the military and the intelligence community, people who are working behind the scenes to try to pull as many plugs as they can, or try to plug as many holes as they can, and save the ship from going down,
Well, we know this much, that Dick Cheney and George W. Bush fully intended to attack Iran on behalf of Israel.
Absolutely.
But there was opposition that we, as you rightly said, we know nothing about. So there are patriotic people out there, and I think our books, can you imagine somebody's trying to stand up behind the scenes and fight this stuff, and he knows he's taken on a Leviathan, a Goliath, and he reads a letter to the editor by somebody saying, hey, Israel has too much power. Israel lobby runs America. We need to stop sending our military weapons to Israel. Finally he says, well, thank God I'm not the only one.
Exactly. And of course, when they're together behind the scenes, talking privately, I guarantee you the things that these people in high places are saying behind the scenes is going to scare Abe Foxman and the Anti-Defamation League and Benjamin Netanyahu a lot more than what Mike Piper has written in his book.
Yeah.
Books, you know what I mean? Because these are people who can make a phone call and talk to the highest admirals and generals in the military, or they can get the head of the CIA on the phone. Former CIA director William Colby, he died mysteriously. And now there's a new video out about him done by one of his children. I personally know a guy who used to be the international correspondent for the Spotlight, knew Bill Colby and his wife, Sally Colby, fairly well. He knew Mrs. Colby better, but this colleague of mine, Andrew St. George, actually arranged for William Colby to begin working very, very closely with some high-ranking anti-Zionist Arabs, and I emphasize they were anti-Zionist Arabs because there are elements in the Arab world that have collaborated with Zionism.
Oh yeah, the Saudi sheikhs and all, yeah.
The ones that William Colby was working with, starting about 6 months before his death, they were very much part of the anti-Zionist bloc internationally. And after Bill Colby, his former director of the CIA, died mysteriously at his cabin down there, they found him floating in the water, and they said he'd either had a heart attack and drowned, or Andrew talked to a lot of the people who had been to the funeral. Mm-hmm. Now, and Andrew himself may have been at the funeral. This point escapes me, but the bottom line of it is, it was the general consensus of the people at William Colby's funeral that he had been murdered by the Mossad or by elements working on behalf of the Mossad. If it wasn't a Mossad hit team directly, it was people working for Israeli interests.
It's reputed that he was writing a tell-all book. Do you think that's so?
I don't know anything about that. It's entirely possible that he was, but I'm kind of inclined to think that Colby was kind of one of these people who would probably prefer to work behind the scenes. and use what influence he could
Yeah.
that way. And that's why he was a danger, because, someone like him is a perpetual danger. And he was also, by the way, his death happened at precisely the time when Zionist elements in Congress were pushing for a major overhaul of the U.S. intelligence community. And Colby was one of the people who had made noises, as I recall, in opposition to the proposed changes. They were trying to basically put all the intelligence agencies under one super director.
Oh, I remember that. Wanted to create like a czar of intelligence.
Yeah, exactly.
And they would have wanted, of course, a Zionist czar.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And see, now just give you another example of how there are elements behind the scenes that do work against even the most powerful forces. Do you remember what happened to former CIA Director John Deutsch?
Oh, yes.
He basically, as I recall, now this is off the top of my head, but as I recall, he was forced to leave office, or at least he was heavily embarrassed and eventually left office after it was discovered that a top secret computer that he had control of had been left exposed in his own home.
Yeah.
Well, the reason why we knew about that, let's face it, is because there were people inside the intelligence community who did not like John Deutsch, and they didn't like John Deutsch because he was such a hardline Zionist, and they used this opportunity to kind of hit him.
To get rid of him
where it hurt. So that's what a lot of that is. These are manifestations, open manifestations of the very real opposition to the Caiaphas complex that is happening from within the complex itself.
Michael, these are all good news. There are people out there fighting for us. They're not all evil. Not all the policemen. I mean, hey, look, you guys this week interviewed several good sheriffs and
absolutely
police.
Good example.
There's good FBI guys and CIA. I realize there's a lot of bad apples, but we all need to work together and don't just say, "Oh, you're FBI, you're a bad person." No. Judge each person for themselves. Be leery, of course. Your book is a great one, The Caiaphas Complex. We've run out of time, Michael, but I want to thank you, Michael Collins Piper, for being our guest today on Power of Prophecy.
Tex, I always appreciate it, and God bless you and Wanda and your whole great staff there at Power of Prophecy.
Okay, hug that cat Donald for us.
I'll do that.
That you've got there, and tell Willis and your staff there how much we appreciate what they're doing.
All right, well, I know all the folks up here at American Free Press appreciate your good work, Tex.
Well, great. Come down and visit us in Austin, okay?
All right, we'll have to do that.
All right. God bless.
All righty. Thanks a lot, Tex.
Okay. Folks, that's Michael Collins Piper, author of many books. His most latest is The Caiaphas Complex. For $30, you can order it from the ministry here. Great to be with you today. And my fervent prayer is that you'll tune in each week during this same time and discover the power of prophecy.